for example, like occupation, like they don't get paid the same amount as men, or like different occupation that they cannot participate in, and like that limits what like a female wants to become. Like she might be ambitious or passionate about something, but in reality, she knows that her like efforts and hard work might not pay off because there are these gaps in the rules.
Let's just pause for a second. Thanks for starting us off with some outside information. Let's try to go to a text that you worked with during the stations and the seminar prep for number 3.
So I want to talk specifically about what Thoreau was saying in basically all of his little quotes that were included in the packet. There was one specific section where he spoke about how he wanted to become a writer, and when he was growing up, his parents would say, "Oh, why don't you just join a sport or a club or the Boy Scouts?" But it wasn't something that he wanted to do, and not something that he identified with. And it was seen as, like, writing was seen as a feminine thing to do, and not so much masculine thing to do, especially in the time that he was growing up, which was like the 50s and the 60s. So it kind of, not that it oppressed his idea of becoming a writer, but kind of in a sense, because he thought, oh, maybe I shouldn't be writing at one point. Yeah, I feel like that's important even today, because we tell men, oh, you're supposed to play sports and do this and do that to become more masculine and become more of a man, instead of, why can't you write? Why can't you paint and do what you really want to do, instead of doing what people are telling you to do?
Oh yeah, I agree with what you said. Cause I like what he was saying. Oh, that like it was like not good for him to write because it was less masculine, and that people like he was supposed to do sports and stuff like that. And I feel like he did something different. I feel like he's kind of like broke what the gender roles expected of him by writing. And I feel like just because he wants to write, it doesn't make him less of a man. The same way if a girl wants to play a sport, it wouldn't make her any less of a female.
And going on top of that, like with regards to Thoreau and his idea of like disliking the idea of being a man in society, like in order to be successful, or in order for our country to progress, we need people to step out of like these like societal norms that have been built for us. So like, you know, Thoreau is an example of someone who didn't abide by what his parents thought was right at the time, and deciding to be a writer. He's been able to provide us a new insight and like new perspective that we wouldn't have if he didn't become a writer. So I guess it just takes that leap of faith and, you know, really pursuing what you want, regardless of the fact that it might not be something that's considered like normal for that specific gender.
Speak more about that perspective. What does this account offer us?
Well, with like these small passages, him talking about like how like being a man is like, how for him it's like something that's very negative in this country specifically, just because of the way we deem it, how, you know, being in sports and like being someone who's considered aggressive is what people consider like is what like a man does in a way, and like him kind of like stepping out from those boundaries kind of like helps provide us with that perspective of, okay, we don't have to follow these exact norms to be a man or be a woman, as what Jasmine was saying.
Yeah, I want to tie back what she just said to Station 6. Could we all refer to Station 6?
What page? I'm sorry.
Station 6. At the bottom, he used like, the simile he used was comparing masculinity to an ill-fitting coat. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to point this out because it's kind of similar to what Vivian was mentioning. How like being a man is like you have like a expectation, and like you have, like he said, the ill-fitting coat that you have to in some way, shape, or form grow into. And yeah, it just affects like what you are passionate about, and you have to pursue what society wants you to be passionate about.
So you imagine the coat being too big and you have to fill it out.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Did anyone see the coat differently in that simile?
Yeah, I saw it as I saw the coat as like for example, like a wall. It's like a social or identity wall where people aren't able to truly embrace themselves and like show the world like actually what they're capable of, and like what their certain passions because of this jacket that hide like who they are and like their actual beliefs, and then that just like
So tuning your response, you saw the coat as tight. Like if it was a wall, then it was restrictive, so it was
yeah,
like
tight and
tighter.
uncomfortable
Tight and not comfortable?
and uncomfortable.
Yeah. I can see it both ways. That's interesting kind of to think about the fit of the coat in the simile.
I
Right.
saw it as like this heavy, like a heavy coat.
Mm.
You know, like one that's like very damp and it's on you. It's kind of like this idea of like the weight of what society thinks, your family thinks, like everyone who you care about thinks of like who you should be as a man or a woman, specifically man, and like how that's like there's too much pressure on a person to like, you know, be what society and like their family wants them to be.
Yeah, looking at the text, what about it being a heavy coat makes sense in how he describes being manly in that little excerpt?
What you mean, like?
Like what words?
Well, like he has like kind of like a
Someone said soldierly.
Abusive.
like character traits of what a man's supposed to be. Like he said, like being like stupid and feeling soldierly and like stop thinking. So it's like those characteristics are like characteristics that that the coat has on it.
I saw the coat as like a way to get in the manlyhood. Like if you're able to like live the stereotypes that are being given to you, thrown at you, then you are a man. If not, and you like take off the coat, then you're not a man necessarily. You like are seen as a feminine, like a feminine.
Because that's very interesting. He could have used a wall, but he used a garment which you can take off or put back on. So that's a very good point.
Oh,
I saw.
Oh, sorry.
I saw it as a mask, like the coat is like a mask to like fit into society, and like but inside the mask, it's like he doesn't want to be this.
Well, I saw the quote. I really see the whole thing as ignorant, because people have this idea of how men should be. I feel like you're trying to choose what a man and a female should be. Like you can't choose for somebody. You can't make a man feel like he has to be abusive, very dominant and masculine just to be a man. You can be a feminine and still be a man. At the end of the day, you can be less masculine and not be so strong and abusive and like demanding and harmful, and you can still be a man. You don't have to be so dominant to make it doesn't make you any less of a man or not a man or feminine at all.
Yeah, to contribute to what Jazz was saying, it said that a guy becoming more feminine is becoming more well-rounded. So like these feminine qualities are actually good. At least like the good ones, like not like being all like always being, but like so if you're able to like obtain both of the qualities, like that's like a perfect mixture, because you can't always be dominant, but you can't always be submissive. And then like sometimes you have to like they just it's like you just become more well-rounded.
Yeah.
Go ahead. To what Jazz was saying, the gender roles put on gender, I think that brings us to our first question. Where do ideas around gender roles and sexual stereotypes come from? I feel like they come from our parents, but like initially from movies, I guess, especially Disney movies, because like my mom always told me that like she used to watch Disney movies, so I feel like Disney movies have like a more an effect on us because we want to be that. Because when we were little, we always wanted to be the princess, what they were doing, and if what we did, what the princess was doing, then that would be a good thing. So I guess like in some movies, I guess like, the Princess and the Frog, like she was shown cooking, so I guess they will be shown that we have to be cooking, I guess.
Well, we can flip back to those to jump in. We have some evidence from the clip that was made for the purpose of arguing to this question specifically. But the Princess and the Frog is an example. There are these tropes in films. But we'll go to Vivian for...
I think it's more you learn from your parents. Like from the day you're born, you know, your teachers are your parents. They tell you how to act right, what to do and what not to do, how to present yourself as a female versus a male. And so like like, and you're at a tender age where you're just basically soaking up whatever they're telling you, so you're more likely to act a certain way based on how your parents
Yeah,
tell you,
Donald.
how they tell you to act, basically. And Thoreau, he mentions this one quote where he's like, it begins with mothers encouraging little girls to say to other adults, "Do you like my new dress?" And it says little girls are traditionally urged to please adults with a kind of pettishness. And I said that kind of relates to how, like, personally, like being a girl, like having all girls as like siblings, my mom is very like, you know, you're supposed to act a certain way, you have to be a lady, you have to present yourself with like high esteem, but you have to be, you know, like courteous and like, just like certain qualities that like you're just bound to learn from your parents before you kind of like start watching movies and then learning more about it. I feel like it just starts from.
Yeah, I agree with you because, like, if you like track it back all the way, like all the Disney movies, all the toys you got, it all comes from your parents, and that's like based on like what your parents thought it was okay, like tolerated, in terms of like the way that so like the things that you watched and like how it would influence you. So like the Disney movies that you watch usually. So like mainly from like Disney movies, because like everyone watched Disney movies growing up, or even Power Rangers and stuff like that. So like for example, the Red Ranger is always a guy, and he was always the leader of the team. And then there would be more males on the squad than females. And then the female roles, like they wouldn't. So like the Red and Blue Rangers, they would like always have like the coolest gear and stuff, and then like the girls would have like the less, like more submissive stuff, and wouldn't be as strong.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. You said? Thank you. Well, I want to say, I agree with all you guys said. It does come from my parents because I was raised, like, my mom always telling me, you have to wear this, you have to look like this, you can't go to school in this because it's too baggy. Or if I wanted to go to the boys section, it was always go here, don't go there. And I feel like our parents influence us a lot. Like, and I was actually, Miss Kim, one of my biology teachers, she was telling me how a lot of things that she learned was from her parents. Like, before she was able to grow up and understand things now, like we have now in society, and have a different idea, she would always go by what her what her parents said. And I feel like our parents have a big and huge impact on what we say. And sometimes they could be very closed-minded, and we could follow their closed-minded like words and take it, and we can teach our kids to be closed-minded. And also I feel like Disney movies taught us a lot also, like they were saying, because Disney movies had a big impact on us. And I feel like it didn't have an impact on me, but a lot of females, like my little sister, she thinks, oh, I have to wear a dress, I have to look pretty, I have to wear makeup to be pretty for some, like just to be pretty to go outside. You don't need that. You don't have to wear makeup. You don't have to put on a dress. You can go outside with some jogging pants and it doesn't make you any less of a female. It doesn't make you any less submissive or anything. It makes you look you. You don't have to just be all girly and have to do this or clean and none of that. That just doesn't go Disney Channel's wrong.
I agree with what you guys were saying. And it's like not only do these Disney movies like influence us, it also influences the opinions of our parents.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like makes them think that it's okay to believe in these gender stereotypes. Like for me growing up, when I was younger, like every single year for Halloween, I was like a Disney princess. But like this one year I was 4, I wanted to be Robin Hood because I feel like he was more relatable as a character because he's like so determined and strong, and he's like so stoic and everything. And it's like I don't want to be Sleeping Beauty, which is what my mother wanted me to be. And it's like she wasn't relatable to me. She had to wait 100 years for a man to come save her. And it's like that's not who I was growing up. And it's like I was different from those princesses. And then it sort of like limits who we are, and like you're unable to sort of express yourself growing up. So yeah.
Yeah. Something I wanted to point out that Thor said was he said masculinity celebrates exclusive company of men, and femininity implies the needing of a man. I think that the point that he made is key because going back to what we're talking about the coat, like in terms of the way you see the coat, you can see the coat as like a varsity jacket, you know. Varsity jackets makes you exclusive, you know, makes you look cool. You're part of this team, you know. But here, it kind of implies that, saying that like being masculine is like you're part of this like exclusive like social group where everybody recognizes you, and femininity is like you need that social group. And it kind of goes back to what you guys were saying about the Disney movies where females always like portrayed as like the victims, and like the masculine man with this like